Okay, we are live. Hey, hey, hey. Good morning, afternoon, evening. I hope you are doing well. It's Nigerian XGW Speaks here, otherwise known as Trigger. If you're new here, hi, hello, welcome. Great to have you. If you are returning, hey, family, I see you. I hope you have been well. So we are back for another reaction to governing body updates. I believe this is the one for February, so we don't have anyone in yet for March, which is fine. I have no idea what is your schedule, what is your frequency, but it looks like the one they have is from February. So that's what we're going to react to. It's been on here for a while. As always, I have not watched this. I haven't seen this. I am watching this with you. And if you're new here, wondering, okay, what's this about? I am a former Jehovah's Witness from Nigeria, currently living in the UK. All of my immediate families, so parents, siblings, are still in the group. And so I like to know what they're being told. I like to know, what sort of response I can get, what sort of reaction I can get. Not necessarily due to interest in what they're doing, but just to know what my family is being told. And as always, my critique is of the leadership, not the members. Okay, so I just want to put that out there. So this one is by, I believe he's the newest governing body member and also the youngest. No, it's not the newest, but he's the youngest because I think there's some other guy who is newer. Anyway, that's how informed I am of the ins and outs of the leadership. But anyway, let's jump in. It's a slightly longer one today, so I want to get into it as quickly as I can.
Welcome. We have many updates to share.
Mark Anderson,
of course,
that's his name.
The world's attention has been fixed on events in Russia and Ukraine. As Jehovah's people, we are not surprised by such events. We're well aware that Russia and its allies fill the role described in Daniel chapter 11 as the King of the North.
So I know I'm stopping so very early, but this is a line I'm gonna hear. We're not surprised, we totally expect this to happen because we're a doomsday cult. And so yes, totally chaos. That's exactly what we're expecting. In fact, we're celebrating it because it means it's getting so close now to when everything's gonna be wiped out. And we're the only ones that are going to be left. And you just heard him make reference to Russia and its allies being the King of the North. So they're a group that insert or try to fitting things into quote unquote Bible prophecy, referring to passages in the book of Daniel, where we hear of King of the North and King of the South. I'm using my hands a lot, so let me try and put them down. But they've decided that Russia is the King of the North, and so this is it was the last video that I did as well touched on this. So that's what he's talking about. Completely bat crazy.
When the governing body first made this identification at the annual meeting in 2018, we mentioned that the King of the North had already taken possession of Crimea. When reading Daniel chapter 11, it's not surprising to see that the King of the North is interested in other territories. Certainly, this is the time to keep on the watch continually and to maintain our Christian neutrality. As of February 28th.
I'm just going to pause this right here. So it said a bunch of stuff, but I just want to zero in on neutrality because this is a tough one. I am generally trying to be a peaceful person historically. Do you know what? It took maybe being an adult to acknowledge the emotion of anger. I mean, that is a whole other topic. There was a lot in childhood to have been angry about, but that's one of the things you have in it when you grew up in a cult like the Jehovah's Witnesses. Your full range of emotion is not really encouraged. Like there's certain feelings that are okay to have and feelings that are not. And so it took until being an adult to actually relate to what was the feeling of anger, to actually express it and let it be experienced and not suppressed. But telling people to stay neutral in the face of your entire life and livelihood and your family being put at risk, that's wild to me. That is wild to me. How can you not defend yourself? I'm sorry. You've got another thing coming if you think we're going to stay neutral in the face of your family being wiped out, your life being wiped out. It's very bizarre. And the other thing that comes to mind for me as well, this requirement to be neutral, it seems to be selective for them. I think I've made a video, this must be a year ago now, possibly more. The double standard they had for neutrality for their members in the country of Malawi versus their members in Mexico, very similar circumstances, different expectations, and the consequences being quite severe for the people in Malawi. So it seems to be selective. Or do we want to talk about, J.F. Rutherford, who was the second president of this group, who during the start or just before the start of the Second World War, trying to ingratiate himself to the Führer in Germany, who I'm not going to say his name, writing letters to pretty much say we're on the same side. And then a few years later, they want to make a whole song and dance about being neutral, and their members literally giving their life story. So their neutrality is sort of selective and wishy-washy. They're certainly not the people that I'm going to be taking that sort of advice from. I know we're only a minute in and I feel like I've said a bunch of stuff. I will not promise to link those videos. You can find that information.
We have no deaths, but one reported injury among our brothers
all right,
in Ukraine.
then. As long as your brothers
Dozens
are
of
fine.
their homes have been damaged. Thousands of our brothers have fled areas of military conflict. We're keeping you, dear brothers and sisters, in Ukraine.
What about
and
everybody
Russia
else?
in our prayers.
What about the rest of the people?
At the same time, we're doing everything possible to be sure that you'll have the needed spiritual food.
That is
as well as the necessities.
Absolutely not what they need right now. I need to calm down. The impracticality of how these people think. You think what they need right now is to hear your words and what you're saying, rather than the practical steps of being physically safe right now. You're doing everything you can. I find that hard to believe. And notice how the focus is just on his members. What about everybody else? What about everybody else? I would love to know, if I have the time to look it up, what population of Ukraine are witnesses compared to everybody else. Again, you have this, selective kindness. They're only showing their charitableness to people in their group, and everybody else, well, you're on your own. It rubs me off the wrong way, but carry on.
Of life. With regard to legal matters, during the week of February 21, we had 3 significant court decisions. On February 22, a court in Ust-Abakan ruled to grant parole and release to 70-year-old Valentina Baranovskaya. Sister Baranovskaya has been in prison for the past 12 months. The prosecutor has until March 4th to appeal. If there is no appeal, then she could be released as early as March 5. Please keep dear Sister Baranovskaya in your prayers. On February 22, 2022, the European Court of Human Rights issued 2 significant judgments concerning our brothers in Russia. The cases involved searches and police detention affecting various brothers from 2010 to 2012. The court ruled in our favor and awarded damages to the 15 brothers and sisters who were involved in these cases. In total, the government of Russia will be required to pay nearly 100,000 euros. The court noted that the public ministry of Jehovah's Witnesses is a fundamental right that a public authority should not interfere with. In many countries, the number of COVID-19 cases...
I'm just going to pause that there because it sounds like he's going to a different topic. So he's just done a brief recap of court cases that have gone in their favor. And some 70-year-old woman who is being released from prison. I mean, good for her. I can't imagine, wanting to be in prison at any age, let alone at 70, so good for her. And then the rest of them. The one thing that I find is that you only find the court cases that they win on their website. The ones where they don't, which is a lot of them, and a lot of time to do with CSA, you won't find that stuff on their website. So looks very man-made to me. I mean, I can understand that. I wouldn't put right front and center when I have a bad PR, but that is man-made. So that's the first thing. Russia, well, I think there's a few people who would argue that the man in charge at the moment was a reasonable person, all things considered. I think you find very few people who would argue with that. And I don't know if I've fully formulated my thoughts yet. I've heard some very, some arguments that I resonate to, absolutely the freedom to believe whatever you want to believe. Absolutely all for that. I don't think people should be punished for what they believe. Now, whatever actions they decide to take based off on their belief, that's where their rights start to infringe on other people's rights and freedoms, right? That's where it gets difficult. But they really play up this stuff in Russia so much, and for people who are not being balanced, it's hard to take them seriously. But I would hate for anyone to subject themselves to jail time, prison time, rough treatment for Mark and his mates. They are not worth it. So if you can get out, please. Moving on.
Is dropping. Some governments are starting to relax or eliminate various restrictions. We hope that conditions will allow us to resume more of our theocratic activities in person.
How awful.
Yet, we want to maintain our cautious approach. The governing body has directed branch committees to monitor the situation in each part of their branch territory. Each branch committee may initiate or expand the pilot program for in-person meetings when it can be done safely. Will it be possible to hold an in-person memorial for your congregation this year?
It's nothing to be excited about.
Only time will tell.
Oh, for goodness sake. He says it as if this is this. Oh, wow. The delusion. Do you know what? I laugh, but as I'm thinking that, I flash back to when I was in the group. I mean, this was the biggest event of the year, right? But in hindsight, how silly. How silly, really. But no, this was the biggest event of the year, to go in a room, sit with a bunch of people, hear the same humdrum kind of talk, and a plate of crackers and wine is passed around and no one's touching it. And, don't get me started on how this is symbolizing human flesh and blood. It's just weird. It's when you're out of there and you think about it, it's very bizarre. But he sounds really excited. And of course, Mark and his mates, they take part because apparently they're convinced they're among the select few 144,000 to be precise, who are going to go to heaven. So, how special.
In any case, this may be a good time for all of us to consider how we view our congregation meetings. If we can return to the Kingdom Hall,
Sorry.
will we be ready to do so?
I don't mean to pause again so soon, but gosh. So now, me personally, if this had happened when I was in and I'd had 2 years of being able to dial into the meetings from home and do it all virtually, I would hate to go back in person. I think, okay, yes, the singing, because I did like the music, just singing, not much thought to the words. I just like music in general, and that was about the most authorized music, I guess, that I could have. So guess I did like that bit, but the preaching and the all of that, I wouldn't look forward to it. So I feel like, and I could be wrong here, but I feel like he's going to be trying to pitch to people why it's going to be good to come back, because I bet they can imagine not everyone wants to, but let's see if I'm right.
Think about how we reason with our Bible students on the importance of attending meetings in Lesson 10 of the Enjoy Life
Go
Forever
on, sell it, Mark, sell it.
There it says, effort is required to attend meetings. Consider the example of Jesus' family. To attend a yearly event, they had to walk some 60 miles or 100 kilometers through mountainous terrain from Nazareth to Jerusalem. Then the book asks this question: why might you have to put forth effort to attend meetings?
How do you even answer
No
that?
doubt, that soul-searching question
How do you
has
mean to
prompted
answer
some
that?
Bible students to begin to attend meetings. But maybe that's a question that we'll all have to think about.
Because we
Going
don't
back
want
to
to.
in-person meetings will take some effort on our part.
Oh, dear.
But of course, we have to think about the blessings that
No,
come from
there's nothing,
in-person
there's no tangible
association
blessing.
with our brothers and sisters. We can just imagine
No.
how much Joseph and Mary and their children enjoyed being in person in Jerusalem when the city was filled with fellow worshipers of Jehovah. No doubt, the joy from being there helped Joseph and Mary realize that it was truly worth the effort.
I promise it'll be worth it.
Likewise, our joy in being at the Kingdom Hall with our dear brothers and sisters will far outweigh
Oh,
any
Mark,
initial
I don't think you're
inconvenience.
selling it very well. No. Mark, I'm gonna need some tangible benefits here. You can't say I promise it'll be worth it. I promise there'll be benefits. You have to say what it is, and I hope you get into that. By the way, these are people that the minute you decide, actually, I don't exactly believe the same thing you do, they will drop you like a hot potato. They will cut you off. Those same people. I know that was a very quick change of term, but that's what hit me. All this effort for no tangible benefit to mingle with people who, the minute you don't believe the same as they do, you will be cut off. Bear that in mind. Bear that in mind. That's who we're talking about. That's how fickle this thing is.
Until we can return to the Kingdom Hall, we appreciate the fine effort that you, dear brothers and sisters, make to attend the meetings on Zoom. By connecting early and staying after, we have more opportunities to do what's mentioned at Hebrews chapter 10, verses 24 and 25. And let us consider one another so as to incite to love and fine works, not forsaking our meeting together, as some have the custom, but encouraging one another, and all the more so as you see the day drawing near. We can experience the joy of giving as we actively encourage our brothers and sisters, inciting them to love and fine works.
Just in case it's going to change topics here, the other thing I thought about is these gas prices that I've been saying. Now, personally, I don't drive, but I go past the petrol stations. I see the news. I see the videos. Those prices are going up, 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 up. So you are going to take your members who, due to your policies, unfortunately, tend to be on the lower earning scale because they're discouraged from going to universities. They're discouraged from taking jobs that are really going to involve commitment of time because they don't really want your time to be spent anywhere outside of Mark and his mates, right? So they're encouraged to take on jobs that are flimsy, that are very flexible, that can allow them to pioneer, i.e. devote 70, 80, 90 hours in their preaching work. So the sort of jobs that will give you that sort of flexibility, for most people, that's not going to be very high paying jobs. These are the people that they're their members. Now they're going to ask them to start traveling 2-3 times a week. I think it's 2 now. That's for the meetings. Then there's the field service. Is there any thought, right, to the economic impact of what's going on right now? And maybe we can let these people stay home because economically that's better. But no, you don't want to do that because the thing is with cults, they thrive off the communalness of it all. That may not be a word, but it's a word right now. The sort of being together to reinforce belief and doctrine. And they know that the further apart people are, the more space people have to step back and think about things. Chances are they may go, hang on a minute, something isn't adding up. So, and the sooner we can get them back in, the better, with zero thought to actually, is this what's best for them right now? Knowing the sort of people that we have in our membership. So no thought. Of course, Mark is going to be fine because Mark lives off the donations from the members. His housing is paid for. Doesn't have to worry about what he's going to eat or how he's going to get around. He has people at his beck and call, so he's absolutely fine. Never mind his members in places where transport rates are going way up. Zero thought, zero consideration.
Of course, why do we put forth all of this effort? Why do we work so hard to maintain our own spirituality and encourage others?
Because you force them to.
Because we want to keep our relationship with Jehovah strong. And at the same time, take our stand against our great adversary,
the invisible enemy,
Satan the devil.
Yeah, there's always an enemy.
The warning recorded at 1 Peter chapter 5, verse 8. There we read, keep your senses, be watchful. Your adversary, the devil, walks about like a roaring lion, seeking to devour.
Got that fear tactic going.
While the devil doesn't cause all our problems, he's always looking for a way to use them.
So bizarre.
He would love to use the stress and isolation of the pandemic to weaken our faith or to sidetrack us with his propaganda.
How do you live in so much fear? Is it fog? Fear? Ooh, what's the O? And guilt. Fear, obligation, and guilt. So they are going to be put in serious fog right now. So they've got it all in one go. And I'm sure the guilt is coming soon. But you've got the fear. Boogeyman, the devil is a lion, is coming to get you. Obligation. Oh, we have to do this. This is what we have to do. And I'm sure there's going to be guilt somewhere. If you're not coming back to the meeting, you're somehow guilty. So they are being railroaded. And at times like this, I feel for people who are mentally awake. So I think they're called the PMO. Yeah, physically in, mentally out. People who mentally, they know it's crap, but they have to physically stay there for fear of losing their family. But even people who are fully in, but meeting these demands makes their life difficult. I feel for them, honestly.
Help us. Note what's stated in verse 9. But take your stand against him, firm in the faith, knowing that the same kind of sufferings are being experienced by the entire association of your brothers in the world. Simply put, all of Jehovah's people are facing the same attack. Although our challenges may be different, no matter where we live on this earth,
not you, Mark.
Under attack.
No, Mark, you are sitting just fine.
On Mark, what our brothers and sisters in other places are dealing with, it can help us to see our challenges differently. For example, think about our brothers and sisters facing natural disasters and persecution. So far this service year, our brothers have been affected by over 120 disasters. Consider a few examples. In December, Typhoon Rai, locally known as Odette, devastated the Philippines. Sadly, 4 publishers died, a dozen were injured, and over 2,000 were displaced. And can you imagine? Over 1,700 of our brothers' homes were damaged or destroyed. Then, in January, Tropical Storm Anna struck southeastern Africa. Sadly, one brother lost his wife and 2 children. 3 brothers and a child were injured. Over 2,000 were displaced. And over 400 of our brothers' homes were damaged.
So I don't want to make a big song and dance about the problem of evil today, because I feel like I mention it every single time. But let's just register. It's just talked about natural events. A total of 5 people so far he's mentioned died. But that's all good with Jehovah. We're going to get a 70-year-old woman out of jail, which I think she should. And those people that are going to get 100,000 euros or something in compensation. Priorities. I'm just saying, I'm not even saying it needs to be either or. But if you're going to say Jehovah's Hand has done something well here, where these people are going to get all this money and going to get out of jail, what happened to the hand when this typhoon and the hurricane are taking people out? You can't have it both ways. Just saying.
Or destroyed. And on February 15, heavy rainstorms and mudslides hit Brazil. Unfortunately, one of our brothers and his 2-year-old son were swept away by a mudslide. The father survived despite serious injuries, but tragically, his son died. Sadly, another brother also died. We continue to pray for all who have lost loved ones or who have been affected by these recent disasters. In addition to natural disasters, our brothers also face civil unrest. In the Democratic Republic of Congo, many of our brothers and sisters in several regions have had to flee their villages and fields. Yet with Jehovah's help, we've been able to provide over 81 tons of food to assist more than 19,600 people. We deeply appreciate your support of our brothers and sisters
to know
who
those
are
were their
facing
members.
disasters. Your prayers and generous donations are having a tremendous impact. Thank you. Despite all these disasters, our brothers and sisters remain firm in the faith. Let's hear how some in Congo, the Philippines, and the Caribbean feel about the help they've received.
So before we jump in, so those are the people that are going to be expected to go back to the kingdom halls. Didn't hear about a lot of that, which, good Global media coverage, that is a topic for another day. What comes to the surface of the news and what doesn't. Sorry for another day. But there's a lot going on. And to have to deal with a cult like this on top of that, I'm exhausted just hearing it. Never. Anyway, let's get into it. That looks awful.
I sincerely
In the
thank
middle of
Jehovah
COVID
for the
as well.
material support to help me return to my normal life. For me, thank you is not enough to express my appreciation for all the good things that we received. Since I was among those who were helped to have damaged houses repaired, the brothers really helped us.
Cue the emotional music.
Despite the difficulties brought on by Typhoon Odette, Jehovah did not abandon us. He helped us. On the very next day, the brothers contacted us and provided us food and helped us repair our house. We're so thankful for Jehovah's help and for providing us our needs so that we can continue with our lives.
Oh, wow. Why did I not hear of this?
I sincerely thank Jehovah and his organization for the love they have shown us during this time that we became victims of the volcanic eruption.
We don't know what words to use to express our gratitude. It's like Jehovah has taken us by the hand, caring for us, and saying, "Do not be afraid. I will help you." Honestly, we are very thankful.
Thank you so much for giving us this house because our house burned down. And to you, servants of Jehovah, I want to tell you thank you, thank you, thank you.
There's a lot. This I heard of.
When I left with the clothes on my back.
The condition that we left our home in and coming back and seeing the work that the brothers did for us, I don't know how to put it into words.
I love and appreciate every single one of you and what you have done for us. You will never understand just how much it means to know that we don't have to do this by ourselves.
To really experience Jehovah.
Why does she need subtitles?
We got to feel Jehovah's life.
We can understand them just fine.
I'm very, very thankful to see Jehovah's blessing.
So I'm pleased they got help. Absolutely. And I think I've mentioned this in a previous video. Generally, most people, I believe, want to do good, want to help, are kind. Most people. I think it's the other average members that have done this. And they haven't done this because they're witnesses, because we know that even outside the group, people help. Heck, let's look at what's been happening right now. There are people helping in the current event going on with Ukraine. There are people right here taking people into their homes and all of that. So you don't need to be a member of this cult to help. What I find problematic is a lot of the help is really targeted at their members only and not everybody else. That's my issue with it. But I am glad they got help. It's nothing special. Like I said, I believe that most people genuinely want to help, want to do good. It's not Mark and his governing body friends that are helping. It's the average everyday witness helping. That's all I'm saying on that one. The emotional music, though, my goodness.
Another challenge our brothers and sisters are facing is persecution. Take, for example, Sister Anna Safronova. On January 25th, 56-year-old Anna was sentenced to 6 years in a penal colony. This is the harshest, longest sentence imposed on a sister in Russia since the 2017 ban. The court imprisoned Anna even though she was the caregiver for her 81-year-old mother. What challenges do the family members of those imprisoned face? How is Jehovah helping them? Let's watch the following interviews from Russia.
Our trials and hardships began on June 12, 2018, when authorities searched our home. And then we didn't see Alexei for 11 months because he was in the pre-trial detention center.
I feel
The
bad
judge
for
sentenced him to 3 and
I feel bad for people who go to jail because of this group. I mean, absolutely. Those sort of laws, I think they're crazy. Like I said, I don't think people should be arrested and imprisoned or punished for what they believe and beliefs that they hold. So absolutely bash the government. Absolutely, that doesn't make sense. I think if you're gonna just not this group, just not them.
2.5 years in a general regime prison colony.
Then another terrible thing happened. It was the fire, when our home burned to the ground in the middle of the night.
In October 2020, the children and I got COVID. And just recently, we came down with COVID for a second time.
I live with my daughter Anna. In July 2021, our home was searched. And on January 25th,
Who is filming
2022,
that?
the court sentenced her to 6 years in prison. We were not even allowed
That's
to
awful.
say goodbye to each other.
That's awful.
My dad has been in a prison for 1.5 years already.
In January this year, he was sentenced to 7 years in a correctional facility. Along with all of that, at the end of last year, my mother died unexpectedly from COVID. One trial is difficult enough, but when you get two at the same time, so the two people
This is
who are
quite
dearest
the
to me
episode,
are no
isn't
longer
it?
with me.
This is all emotions and feels.
I pray to Jehovah and feel that he gives me peace of heart and a sense of calm. And I don't worry quite as much. Friends come over and help me with the cleaning, and they go shopping for me, and we chat. In all of that, I
What
see
did the doctor
Jehovah's
do,
hand,
though?
his help, and his
Is
support.
it just for being a witness, or?
Jehovah constantly strengthened us by means of his word, and he used the brothers. For example, our friends send us text messages quoting the very scriptures that gave me strength. These were answers to my prayers.
It was my parents' wedding anniversary, and all day it was like couriers were bringing us gifts, flowers, and parcels. It was like the whole day the house was full of flowers.
It was as though Jehovah were shouting to us, I love you, I'm
No,
right
it was
with you,
people
I won't
doing
leave
that.
you.
It's
And
people.
Sasha said, Mom, if Dad had been free, we would only have had one bouquet of flowers, at the most. Do you remember that time when you were afraid to shout out, Dad, I love you, hang in there, Jehovah loves you? You mustered up courage, and we prayed as well.
And then he wrote in letters that he cried because he was so happy that he had heard me. My faith had only been made stronger. I've started reading the Bible every day. Also, I've taken a big step toward Jehovah. Even too, I dedicated my life to him and was baptized.
Poor kid.
Many times I remember the thought that Jehovah often embraces us using someone else's arms.
Poor
Well, in
kid.
these last years, we have felt Jehovah's embrace many times. Jehovah always turns hardships into blessings. There was the fire, and we lost our home. But now we have a new home, which is better than the previous one. I'm certain that whatever happens, we will definitely get through it. The main thing is to be close to Jehovah.
Gosh, that little girl, bless her. She looks bored with the whole thing.
We are
Oh, wow. I need to take a break, man. That is a lot of sadness, this one, and the music and all of that. Do you know what? A lot of people have been through a lot of crap in the last couple of years. It has been rough. I mean, getting arrested, that is not so usual outside of Russia for what you believe. I'm guessing that's why they were. I guess it's just reflective of what's been happening in the larger society. It's been a rough couple of years, and it would be much easier, I think, to get through that without a cult that is putting obligation, guilt, fear on you. But I think we're about to wrap this up soon, so let's see.
so proud of all those who are standing firm in the faith despite persecution. We're reminded of 2 Corinthians chapter 4, verse 9. We are persecuted, but not abandoned.
I don't think
We are
COVID-19
knocked
is a
down,
persecution.
but not
Everyone went
destroyed.
through it.
Jehovah will never abandon his faithful servants. As we've been reminded in this update, our brothers and sisters worldwide continue to stand firm in the faith despite military actions, a global pandemic, disasters, and
So there we go. I can hear the guilt quietly. If all these people that have gone through all these things are still keeping strong, what's your excuse for not coming back to the kingdom hall? Is that what we're going? I can hear it in JW undertone speak. You know, they're dealing with people dying, people going to prison, houses burning down, etc., etc. Jesus walked 60 miles. What's your excuse for not coming back? There we go. Let's see.
and persecution. Brothers and sisters, as 1 Peter chapter 5 and verse 8 says, keep your senses, be watchful. Our adversary, Satan the devil, has filled this world with his satanic propaganda. Be
That's
cautious.
exhausting.
Take your stand against him. As the world becomes more and more nationalistic and divided, we will not compromise our neutrality. We will remain united in our loyalty to God's kingdom
And damn everybody
in our
else.
love for one another. Continue to listen to the voice of our fine shepherd, Jesus Christ, and his appointed channel, the faithful and discreet slave.
Appointed channel.
Our
Not a radio
Almighty
station.
God Jehovah is with us, and we
Calm
have
down,
our
Mark.
worldwide brotherhood to support us.
Oof, calm
No
down.
matter what trials lay ahead, we have everything we need to remain faithful.
Whatever you
to
say,
Jehovah.
Mark. Whatever you say.
Dear brothers and sisters, we love you all very much. From the world headquarters of Jehovah's Witnesses, this is JW Broadcasting.
Oh, wow. Okay. I feel drained. I really feel drained. That one drained me. I feel tired. Oh, my goodness. Okay. So that was a bunch of stuff. that was a lot of stuff. I'm not sure how it flows though. Where we started isn't quite where we ended. We started with, we're coming back to the Kingdom Hall. We have to put the effort. If you're not putting in the effort, are you even doing it right? Because there's got to be effort. And then we veered into this reel of persecution and a lot of the horrible stuff that's been the last couple of years for a lot of people. So it's quite a draining one. But never let a bad situation, stop Mark and his mates from really bringing back the focus to, at the end of the day, it's all about how can you stay faithful to us, to our group, regardless of whatever is going on. You better make sure that you continue to toe the line and do the things that we want you to do. That's what I got from that. But that left me quite exhausted. I don't know about you. Let me hear your thoughts. Let me know what you think. I need to go chill. Give the video a thumbs up if you liked it, and leave a comment for engagement and help the video get shared and seen by more people. And subscribe if you have not. I've seen a few people join the family in the last couple of weeks, so that's awesome. Welcome to all the new folks, and I'll speak to you on the next one. Have a great week ahead. Bye.